I guess it won't be the whole tour. It'd be
No.
highlights from this room, and there's what, 2 other rooms?
No, one of the
One other room full.
Yeah.
Not counting the attic. We won't do the attic.
Of these 3 are Navy Cross recipients. Shadow boxes above are all individual groupings to a single individual.
Yeah. Whereas this is one guy's. There's 2 different boxes for him,
Yeah.
right?
No.
Oh, is this a different guy?
This is one individual.
Oh, yeah.
And he's identified by his dog tags.
I see both tags.
Yeah. And then I've got basic histories that go with the individual's material.
And all on these realistic mannequins that are like perfect. I mean, they're super clean and restored. And
this individual here is this individual with all of his
Purple Heart
personal items.
Yeah. Screaming Eagle. So yeah, cool.
And there are some cases, such as the 10th Mountain. This is a put together. It's not one man's material, but it is representative of the 10th Mountain Division, which was a unique division in itself.
Yeah.
But the mountain stuff will all go as a group.
Yeah, because of the gear they would have had.
This is one man's grouping, and I have a service uniform further back.
Yeah.
And the service uniform and this will go together.
Yeah.
As a grouping.
Yeah. Some of the archives are huge. I mean, some of the groupings are like.
They are. And we're about to address the Tuskegee Airmen.
Which is big in various ways, yeah.
William S. Powell. Everything you see here, to include his military history and the service after.
Yeah.
That's all his.
And stuff back here as well? Or are there things in this?
Yeah, no.
Okay, so everything just from there forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And these 2 shadow boxes
right.
belong to him.
And didn't you tell me that he's got his unit or his division history? Not whatever the book signed by all his.
Oh no! It's the Tuskegee diploma. That's his diploma from the Tuskegee Institute.
Yeah.
But of greater interest as well.
Wow.
It's signed by all of his classmates and some of the instructors.
Wow. Were they African American? The instructors wouldn't have been, would they?
No, not the instructors necessarily.
No, yeah. It's like everything but his socks. I mean, it's just like.
And this is his parachute.
Ah, yeah.
That goes in the kit bag.
Yeah.
Next to him.
That kind of wax canvas bag. Yeah. Yeah, that's a great one. So that's an example of how extensive some of these archives are. Some of these
and in his case, it's either further extensive. This is his complete uniform, his service uniform.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's great. And that's one of 2 Tuskegee Airmen groupings you've got, right?
That's correct. This is the second Tuskegee grouping to include all the contents in this box.
Wow. Yeah.
Which has an autograph book signed by other Tuskegee members.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing about this grouping is his yearbook from the Tuskegee Institute.
Flying School, Army Flying School. Wow. Army Air Force.
And this has other Tuskegee members sign this. And throughout the photographs inside, there's different annotations and signatures.
Yeah. Wow. Huh. That's incredible. Is that where that was, right there?
Yeah, right there.
Huh. And all the things in the case. Cool.
This individual here, these are all his awards.
I wonder if I can get that out.
Right.
No, it won't come
No.
out that door. But anyway, yeah, there's his.
He received every award for valor that existed in World War II, with the exception of the Medal of Honor.
Wow.
And these are his pieces here and here, and it has his unit.
Yeah. What was his name? William Hamburg, right?
Correct.
And the same thing with all along this wall and all the little shadow boxes.
Yeah, and those are all individual histories. This grouping is a put together. I believe the jacket is named, but this is to identify the invasion equipment.
Lots of headgear around the corner.
This individual, Distinguished Flying Cross, a number of air medals and Distinguished Flying Cross, Distinguished Service Cross, bullion insignia on each side. This is his uniform as a major. When the war ended, he was promoted ultimately to brigadier general and was placed in command of Area 51.
Oh, at what point? After the war?
After the war.
Wow.
Yes, so he has quite a history, and his history is provided. This individual is quite unique because he was on the receiving end of the bomb that was dropped by the crew of the Enola Gay, and this is signed by Tibbets. When the bomb went off, he was in a civilian jail along with other American prisoners, awaiting movement from the civilian jail into the POW system. And the jail commandant marched them into ground zero
After the blast.
after the blast, and all of his comrades and the jail commandant died of radiation poisoning, except for him. And he survived and lasted to an older age, but did ultimately die of cancer.
Cancer.
And
did he make it to 70, did you tell me, or something? Or how old was he, do you know?
Early 70s.
Yeah. So, any theories on why the commandant did that? Or was he just...
Well, you know, he was on the receiving end of the A-bomb.
Right. But he's just mad. I mean, I wonder what his goal was.
Well, he was mad.
Yeah.
And he wanted the Americans to see, look what you've done to us.
Okay.
This is his portrait photo here.
Yeah.
And these are his medals,
Yeah.
to include the POW medal. The next grouping is quite a piece of history. This is Admiral 4-star John S. McCain, the grandfather of Senator McCain. These are all of his personal awards, his insignia, some of the selected documents, and there's a box that stands about 2 feet high with all of his records from 1935 to 1945. That's his pilot certificate back there. Navy Cross. This is a massive, massive grouping.
That goes over to here, right?
It
Well,
does.
just for these displays, plus the boxes you mentioned.
This is all the material relating to the Order of the British Empire, which is a high order. The award document is signed by King George VI. And here's a photo of the award being rendered to his wife posthumously after McCain died.
Yeah. Now, wasn't he at the signing of the armistice?
He was, and there's a photo in the previous case that shows him right behind MacArthur
On the deck, yeah.
on the deck of the Missouri.
Yeah, wow. Huh.
His uniform is in another room, and we'll address that later.
Okay.
This individual here, who was a reconnaissance pilot of the 44th Division, he happened to be the nephew of the commanding general of the 44th.
Oh.
And this is all of his material.
Yeah, boxes full and suit.
This particular grouping here belonged to the individual that was at Hiroshima.
Oh, that was in the civilian jail waiting.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. So is it flying maps? So he was.
Yeah.
What was his service? What was he? Was he a pilot?
He was a pilot.
Okay.
He was a bombardier on a B-29.
You probably told me that. Okay.
Yes. These are various Army Air Force wings. This grouping is a piece of history. He was an Eagle Squadron member, and these are U.S. pilots that went to England to serve with the English Royal Air Force.
I see that on the other side.
Yes. And then he went over to the 8th Air Force and became a command pilot. That's the type of airplane that he flew, the Spitfire.
Oh, wow.
And that goes with this grouping.
Okay. Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's not named, but it's a tremendous piece of history.
Was that a pretty limited program?
It was limited, yes, but the uniform is totally unique.
Oh. Really? Even
it's kind of a silver gray.
Yeah, it is.
Rather than the tan. And the trousers are silver gray.
It's bullion on the...
and that denotes that he was an officer. But you'll notice
the colors.
that the garrison cap is the same color as the rest of the uniform.
There's a nice collection.
Yeah, these are squadron insignias for the most part. And there's a wide array of pilot helmets. I have
good displays.
Every example during World War II.
Are pilot helmets a subject within a book? Any of your books?
It was my plan to do the history of the World War II Army Air Force, and after I really considered it, I wouldn't live long enough to finish it.
Yeah.
So there are some items that are in some of my books.
Yeah.
That pistol here, only one round has been fired through that pistol.
Oh.
And it was after he was released from service.
Yeah.
That's the individual who owned this pistol grouping.
Yeah.
And that's him in the photograph.
Desert Training, 1943.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was playing with the pistol in his home, and he shot a bullet through his ceiling. So that's the one round that was ever fired.
That's a notable round. Oh, that's great.
This is the airborne equipment. All my explosive devices are all inert, so you don't have to worry about that problem. This is a German fighting knife. I carried that all through my career.
Really?
There's 63 jumps on that piece.
Really? 63, really?
Yeah.
They would have jumped that many times?
No, I jumped.
Oh, you did? Oh, yeah. Wow.
This was my last-ditch survival knife.
Yeah.
This is a depiction here of the Ranger uniform.
Mm-hmm. That's all World War II.
All World War II.
I don't think I've seen that cap.
Here's another piece of history. This individual earned the Navy Cross. I have his complete blue uniform in another room. He sank the world's largest seagoing vessel in World War II, 1945.
Japanese vessel?
The Yamato.
Yeah.
The battleship Yamato.
No kidding. Yeah.
and it took down some 3,500 Japanese crewmen.
Yeah.
This individual was a glider pilot, and it's covered in one of my books. And I described the glider operations as being nothing more than a controlled crash. All of his military material and his history here. These glasses that you see here actually belong to him. All of these are filled with the appropriate equipment, with the exception of these pockets here.
Without pulling it out, what types of things would have been in there?
Well, here and here are the 20-round packs of 45 ammunition.
Oh.
This helmet belonged to this fellow here, and his grouping is rather large as well.
Yeah. Including some civilian, well, not civilian, but like I see a ball glove.
This is military.
Ball glove?
Ball glove and ball.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
And the interesting thing about the helmet, it has the Howley liner.
Yeah, I saw that liner. When you first pointed at it, I was curious about that liner.
This one here.
Yeah. And it'll be with a grouping.
Anything that belongs to a single individual
Yeah.
will go as a grouping to that individual, won't be broken up.
Yeah.
The pillow shams, they're all airborne related. This is all one man's history here.
So you're talking 4 binders full of...
Yeah,
just-
four binders.
Yeah.
his Overseas cap, and I've got a shadow box also that belongs to him.
Yeah.
But this is all his World War II service, and there's a lot of interesting material contained in these. For example, one of the 2 Eisenhower letters, photographs, just a wide array of material
Related material.
relating to him.
And then with the McCain group, there are similar things, but including some with signatures from presidents and other...
This is all McCain's material, and
Yeah.
letters from him, letters to him, and it reads like a who's who. This is Admiral Nimitz.
Ah, yeah. He was a captain.
Nimitz again.
Wow. There he is.
President Roosevelt.
Franklin Roosevelt to Sir. It's from the White House, Washington, 1941. That's great.
James Forrestal, Secretary of the Navy. Frank Knox, Secretary of the Navy. These are all original signatures.
Yeah. Period documents.
I got a box full of documents.
Yeah. What was it about this room that you kind of... Did you have it or just...
Okay, this is Admiral McCain's.
Oh, so more of the McCain archive.
Yeah, aviation uniform.
Yeah.
He commanded all of the aircraft in the Pacific and on the West Coast.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what's interesting about his history is that when he became admiral rank, starting from 1 star up to 4 star, normally they were not permitted to fly, but he got a special dispensation and continued his flying status, but with the requirement that he have a co-pilot go with him.
Wow. Huh. How...
that's a photograph of him wearing this uniform.
Wow.
But with his unique visor cap rather than the garrison cap.
unique to the rank or unique to
No,
him?
unique to him.
To him, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was a weird hat.
Have you got it?
No.
Oh,
No.
I'll be darned. So he started his archive begins at 1935, right? And goes to
No, that's when he was a rank of captain
Yeah. Okay.
on up.
Yeah.
But he came into the service in World War One. This is all one man's history here.
Yeah. Boy.
These are all his squadron patches.
Mm-hmm.
Silver Star recipient, Merit, Legion of Merit. This is a grouping received from Grand Admiral Dönitz. I spent a day with him interviewing him. At the completion of the interview, I came home and wrote a 3-volume history of the World War II German Navy. I sent him the work, and this is him thanking me.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is his signature is Karl Dönitz, and that was only reserved for family and close associates.
That he referred to himself that way?
Yes, otherwise it was just Dönitz.
Huh.
And this is his service record here, and the photo is signed as well.
I'll be darned. Huh.
This grouping, the Testament with the brass cover,
Yeah.
may this keep you safe from harm.
Mhm.
And this is from his family. Anyway, he was killed during the Battle of the Bulge. So this, the KIA Purple Heart, which is engraved, this, and this
Wow.
all belong to him.
Yeah. Yeah. Huh.
And the service flag went from the blue
Serving to.
to the gold, and that's after he was killed.
Yeah.
The large prints are, these two are Air Force Medal of Honor recipients, and that bears their personal signature on each one.
Really?
Uh,
Okay.
This Navy officer earned his Medal of Honor at the Battle of the Coral Sea, and you can see his squadron insignia in the upper right,
Right.
and that's his squadron insignia here.
Yeah. Yeah. Huh.
This is very, very interesting. It's the early pattern of the Navy mess dress uniform. When I say Navy, Marine.
Oh.
He's depicted here as a Marine captain. He later went to be a lieutenant colonel. This shows his rank as captain and the rank of captain on the boards.
Yeah.
He had this tailored in 1923 and was prepared to wear it up until 1943, but they discontinued wear of this in 43, and in 1947 they came out with a completely different design. This was a very good friend of mine. He was a Marine paratrooper, referred to as paramarines. That's his history here. That's his certificate of proficiency becoming a paratrooper.
Oh. Uh-huh.
And the interesting thing about the Marine paratroopers was there were approximately 110 paratroopers in World War II, of which only 3,500 were paramarines. They never made a combat jump, and I asked him why, and he said the jungle was so high, so dense, we'd never make it to the ground. So all of their combat was beach landings.
Yeah.
And he served at Iwo Jima. This material here is also the K-bar, which has his name on the back, This is a money belt with his entire military history on it, the compass, and the Marine book.
Where was he from?
Kansas.
Was he Kansas? Yeah.
Yeah. I might add that about 94% of everything in my collection has been received from the greater Kansas City area, either from the vet himself or members of his family. This is Lieutenant J.G. Wood's blue uniform. He's the one that sank the Yamato. The Marine uniform is a fairly large grouping. You could make a movie of this guy's history. All that information is provided. This individual, from here down, is the same uniform that he wore in 1943 as a captain. And the only thing that's missing is his sword, but it's still complete with the sword hangers. And the visor cap changed when he reached the rank of major, and then he got all the scrambled eggs.
Scrambled eggs. Yeah.
And to give you an example of how items come my way, I was having lunch, and next to me was a lady, and she turned to me and said, "Do you know anyone that would be interested in my father's uniform?" And I said, "Lady, you just talked to the right person." And 2 weeks later, I had it.
Couldn't have got
And it includes his dog tags and can opener. This is an array of some more rifles. The 03A3 Springfield is about as mint as you'll find it. The M1 rifle is no slouch either. This all belonged to one person, except this is not his, this metal bar. And the flag plate on the front is engraved U.S. Marine Corps.
headgear. Good displays. I like all the good displays. That's a super clean cover.
This uniform and this uniform belong to one individual. Everything shown here is his, with the exception of this hat. This is here just to complete the uniform. This would probably be sold with the uniform, providing the history of the hat, because this guy went on to become a brigadier general in the Marine Corps. Or you could sell the hat separate. This piece here, again, is a pillow sham, and it has every battle of World War II, with the exception of two.
Oh, yeah, I see. All the Pacific theaters. Yeah. Well, I think that's good, Jack. I like that.
This case here housed George Washington's battle sword.
Really?
Yes. They were going to upgrade the presentation of the sword, and I asked them, well, what are you going to do with the case? And I don't know. I said, give it to me. And they did.
And so what is this, Jack?
Those are books that I have written over the years. What's interesting is these are my copies number one.
Oh, yeah.
And my wife has copy number 2 of most all of the books that I have done. And her copies will go as a group in the auction.
So these books were all age. These are from early 20th century forward, right?
No, they're basically World War II related, and there's some after. This is all of the Uniformen Mart, which is the presentation of all items made in 1938 and 39, primarily political in nature.
In the way of insignia and uniforms and things?
Insignia and uniform.
Yeah, okay.
It's in German, but there's a wealth of information.
Yeah, all the background of the selection of the designs and things. These were the ones when I was thinking of.
Yeah, this is the POWs, the German POWs. This was compiled by the commandant of the camp, and it has photographs of the different individuals. This book
Yeah.
was written and is signed by Hemingway's wife.
Yes.